Welcome to Lesson 7 in Unit 22, Using Our Resources Wisely. In this lesson, students will work to answer the question, how can we harness and use energy from the wind? In this lesson, students engage in the engineering design cycle to develop a wind turbine that can be used to transfer energy from the wind into electricity. Students figure out that wind turbines can be used to harness energy from the wind and transfer it to energy for electricity. They can use the engineering design cycle to develop and test solutions and make improvements to solutions using evidence and feedback from others. Students make connection to the storyline by using the engineering design cycle to develop and test possible solutions that use renewable wind energy. There are several opportunities for ELA, math, and social studies connections throughout the lesson. You can look for specific standard connections in the Unit 22 Teacher Guide. This lesson will take approximately 5 to 6 days to complete. To begin the Engage portion, you'll display the engineering design cycle and ask what problems students are trying to solve. You'll also ask what they have already figured out about how to use resources wisely. You'll then introduce the book, The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. Be sure to use the Read Aloud Guide to help students gather information about wind turbines and their uses. You'll then show students a video of wind turbines and ask what they observe and how they think a wind turbine works to transfer energy into electricity. In pairs, you'll have students review the wind turbine diagram student journal page to obtain information about how the turbines transfer energy from wind into electricity. You'll then have students record their notes and individually create an initial model of a wind turbine in their Wind Turbine Brainstorm student journal page. You'll revisit the driving question board to add any new questions and highlight others connected to the learning goals of this lesson by calling attention to questions about how communities might use renewable resources like wind for energy. For the Explore portion, you'll put your students into groups and show them the wind turbine materials. You'll have students brainstorm in their groups how they could use the given materials to build a turbine that can harness energy from the wind. You'll also discuss criteria and constraints and post the vocabulary cards. Be sure to see the teacher tutorial for the wind turbine activity. You'll have students compare their ideas and select or finalize one design for their group in the Wind Turbine Design and Performance student journal page. In the Explain, you'll have student groups work together to construct and test their models. You'll provide time for students to complete at least one test and have them work using the Wind Turbine Design and Performance student journal page to record their observations and collect data as they test their first designs. Students can present their wind turbine solutions or do a gallery walk to compare solutions. Then you'll bring students together and have them share findings from testing their designs. You'll then have students complete the Compare Wind Turbines student journal page to take notes about other teams' designs. For the Elaborate portion, you'll have students work in their groups to complete the Design Reflection, Wind Turbine Design and Performance student journal page. You'll then give students time to redesign and retest their wind turbine models. They should draw their second design and design 2 test results on the Wind Turbine Design and Performance student journal page. For the Evaluate portion, you'll have students complete the reflection questions on the Wind Turbine Results and Reflection student journal page. You'll use this rubric to evaluate students on their arguments. This summative assessment and rubric covers standards and elements from across the unit, not just this lesson. You'll then invite students to review what they've learned about using Earth's resources wisely throughout the unit. The goal of this class discussion is for teams to revisit the learning throughout the unit and to wrap up the unit. You can use your summary charts from throughout the unit to help guide this discussion. To support student sense-making across the unit, you'll orient them back to the driving question board. You'll ask, did we answer any of the questions on our driving question board? And are there any questions we haven't answered? You'll try to wrap up any final questions from the driving question board before the end of the unit. And you'll have students take the Section 3 post-assessment. By the end of this lesson, students will have designed, tested, and shared a wind turbine that can harness energy from the wind, and obtained and communicated information about wind turbines and energy from the wind. For the optional extend, you can review the biofuel resources from Samso Island and set up a biodigester in your classroom for students to investigate how organic waste breaks down into natural gas. For more information about this unit, visit myscipartners.com.